I am Carl Ross of the University of Portsmouth in the United Kingdom, and today I'm going to give a lecture on floating island cities and farms, which was done in collaboration with my former student Ricardo Xavier Rodriguez McCulloch of Tenerife. According to Sir David Attenborough, the world population in 1925 was about 2 billion. According to the UN, the world population in 2009 was about 6.8 billion. And was likely to rise to 10.5 billion in 2050. Thus it appears that in about a century the world population has quadrupled. If during the next century the world population quadruples again, it will rise to about 28 billion. How are we going to house and feed such a large population? The problem is worsened because global warming will cause a further loss of land due to rising sea levels. Now, if the already floating ice cap in the Arctic melts, it will not cause a significant rise in sea levels, excluding thermal effects, because an already floating ice cap displaces its own mass of water, according to Archimedes' principle. If, however, the ice mountains on Greenland melt, the world's sea level will rise by about 6.7 meters, or 22 feet. This is because Greenland has a surface area of about 9 times that of the UK, and it has an ice mountain on it of about 1.5 miles high. The problem will be worsened if the ice mountains in the Antarctic melt. So how are we going to house and feed such a large world population? Countries that are likely to be in serious trouble in about 2050 are Holland, Bangladesh, Paradise Islands, the Pacific and Indian Oceans, together with low-lying coastal zones all over the world. One way that we can overcome these problems is to colonize the seas, because the seas can cover some 71% of the Earth's surface, whereas only about 29% of the Earth's surface is covered by dry land. We can build floating island cities to house the world's burgeoning population, and also to build floating island farms to grow food for the world's huge population. Floating islands are not new. The Euros tribe who reside on Lake Titicaca have built floating islands for centuries. Others have designed floating island cities, but have not built one yet. However, China has signed an agreement with Japan to build a floating island city in a few years from now. The USA are also funding a project. Some advantage of living on floating islands. They are cost-effective when the water depth is large. They are more environmentally friendly. They do not damage the marine ecosystem, silt up deep harbors, or disrupt tidal ocean currents. They are easy and fast to construct. The 20th century has seen applications of floating technology to storage facilities, emergency bases, oil rigs, bridges, power plants, docks and piers. Floating cities first drew attention in the 1970s with the construction of semi-submersible unit of a floating city in the Okinawa International Ocean Exhibition. Many design sketches of floating cities have been drawn up since then, but none have actually been built. If the floating cities are built with a modular base form, it allows their expansion to be carried out easily. They are protected from seismic shocks. They do not suffer from differential settlement due to reclaimed soil consolidation. This is Lake Titicaca, a floating island city on the Lake Titicaca on the border of Peru and Bolivia. These are members of the Euros tribe. This is another view of the floating island city on Lake Titicaca. Another view of Lake Titicaca. And yet another. This shows some of the constructions, the Euros on Lake Titicaca. Aberdeen City, Hong Kong. Centuries ago, the boat city of Aberdeen, Hong Kong was a haven for pirates, and the floating island city itself hasn't changed much since then, despite the ultra-modern skyscrapers that have sprung up around it. Aberdeen's boat people live here to escape the constraints of modern society, although many in mainland Hong Kong consider the boat city to be an eyesore. 3 jumbo floating restaurants in the harbour are a favourite with tourists to the areas who look on the boat people as quaint and interesting. This is a view of Aberdeen City in Hong Kong. It's quite crowded. It's very crowded. That view shows a very crowded city. The oily rocks in Azerbaijan. One of the strangest cities in the world sits just off the coast of Azerbaijan, abandoned and dilapidated. Oily rocks began with a single path out over the water and grew into a system of paths and platforms, built on the backs of sunken ships to serve as the city's foundation. It was all created to serve the oil industry. Before long, it contained housing, schools, libraries, shops for the workers and their families. Now only part of it remains as many of the parts have disappeared into the surf. Here are some more views of oily rocks in Azerbaijan. You can see in the bottom figure how it's dilapidated and uninhabited. No Man's Fort in Portsmouth. The Daily Mail called it a man-made island fit for a Bond villain. As you can see why. Located off the coast of Britain, has a forbidding exterior with its towering armor plate, granite and steel walls. The Victorian-era sea fort was originally built to fend off attacks by the French Navy, but is now a luxury hotel with 21 rooms, 2 helipads and a heated indoor swimming pool. It was put up for sale in 2007, but the company collapsed, leading to some drama with its former owner, Hamesh Pooney, barricading himself inside it in 2008. It still has not been sold. There is No Man's Fort in Portsmouth. It's quite a nice place to have a holiday. Tilafushi Garbage Island. From a distance it looks like an island paradise in the middle of a stunning azure sea. But get closer and you'll soon see that this man-made island, located a few miles from Male in the Pacific Ocean, is actually a dump, literally. Tilafushi was created to solve the problem of ever-growing mountains of trash in the Maldives. It now contains thousands of tons of solid waste rife with toxic chemicals including mercury, cadmium, lead and asbestos. There it is there. Looks very attractive, but contains some very toxic materials. Dubai's man-made islands. Dubai has an ever-growing collection of unusual man-made islands, including the Palm Islands and the World Islands. The Palm Islands are the largest artificial islands in the world, built by Dutch engineers to cater to extremely wealthy buyers from around the world. Even more exclusive are the world's islands, which are still in progress. They're laid out to create a map of the world, and each of the 300 islands has a price tag of $20 to $30 million. A number of celebrities are said to have purchased land there, including Rod Stewart, David Beckham and Tommy Lee. There you can see some of the man-made islands of Dubai. The bottom figure shows Palm Islands. This figure shows Dubai's World Islands. Recycle Plastic Bottles Island. If you want to live a carefree seaside life like the uber wealthy of the world, but don't have a lot of cash, look to Spiral Island for inspiration. This artificial island in Mexico was constructed on the base of 250,000 plastic bottles that allowed the island to drift and relocate as needed. Unfortunately, the island was destroyed by hurricane in 2005, but owner Richard Soa is completing construction of Spiral Island 2. The real island was home to a 2-story house, a solar oven, a self-composting toilet, and 3 beaches. There you can see Spiral Island, and Richard's in the bottom picture there. Looks very fit. Here's Richard Soa's island. You can see he's got a lot of vegetation there. And there you can see on the left the plastic bottles, which are in plastic bags and a bamboo frame, which help to keep the island buoyant. Kawasaki Artificial Island. Tokyo Bay is home to a number of man-made islands, including the mysterious Kawasaki Island, which is home to a large tower. But what looks like it would be a skyscraper from afar is actually just a ventilation shaft for the Tokyo Bay Aqua Line, which runs from Kisazuru City to Kawasaki City. Sometimes called the Tower of Wind, this man-made island took 30 years to be completed. There it is there. a Japanese island, which acts as a giant ventilator. Floating island of immortals. In photos it doesn't look real. A sparkling, flame-shaped mountain of steel in the middle of the ocean, which stands in a sharp contrast to its organic surroundings. But the dramatically named Floating Island of Immortals is actually a sculpture by Chinese artist Zhang Wang and an integral part of the Beaufort Art Trail, a collection of international art spread out over 60 kilometers along the Belgian coast. On the island, statues of a fisherman and an elf, a cell phone and a computer represent icons of the past, present and future. There it is. The floating island of Izmir. The Amsterdam-Almere region is witnessing an increase in population. This, along with climate change, ongoing urbanization, and a rise in sea levels, will result in more flooding, more use of water, together with use of energy and other resources. Students at Delft University of Technology, Netherlands, propose the idea of locating a floating city in the Izmir to develop a more supporting non-risk concept of urbanization in the Almere-Amsterdam region that will contribute to further economic and technological development in the Rhine Delta. There's the drawing of the Izmir city designed by the Dutch students. No cars were allowed on it. There's one of the designs of a section of it. Triton City. Waterfront living with the city offers the advantage of rapid access to the downtown area and having a suburban open space view. During the 1960s, the supply of such property was limited in the USA, in which existing structures were old and renovation and remodeling was extremely expensive. Triton Foundation and our Buckminster Fuller produced this Triton City. There it is there. It's a modular form designed in the USA. Lily-pad City is a conceptual design produced by those who will have lost their homes because of the rise of the sea levels in the future. Sea levels could rise drastically if nothing is done about all of the activities that produce global warming. If only the water rises by 3 to 4 meters, 9.8 to 13.1 feet, or as I've said, 6.7 meters, which is 22 feet, is the expected value if Greenland continues to melt at the current rate over 100 years. There's Lily-pad City, a green city that floats all over the world. There's another view of Lily-pad City. It just floats about and it's self-sustaining. It won a prize, Architect's Prize. And there's Lily-pad City again. There's another view of a couple of lily-pad cities. The Sea Steading Project. This was designed by architects. It appears to be based on the design of oil drilling platforms, in that the city is on a platform and rests on 4 vertical pillars which are placed at the corner of the platform. The designers provide various layers of cities sitting on the platform. They do not, however, appear to stipulate the chosen material construction. The designers of this project have won many architectural prizes. And there's the Sea Steading Project. This is to be built off California. Money has been provided to design and build it. There's another view of it. There's another view. There's a drawing of one of the sections of it. And here's another view of part of it. It's got to be built from Pykrete. Built from Pykrete. I don't know what that is, but it's obviously some state-of-the-art material. The World Cruise Ship. The World is a cruise ship that goes around the world, having some of its cabins as houses that are sold to the public for a large amount of money. The other cabins are rented to the public as a normal cruise ship, but have some differences compared to a normal vacational cruise ship. If in the real world just isn't living up to your expectations, you can always escape to your own little world in the middle of the ocean. If you're filthy rich, that is. The world is a floating luxury community managed by residency that's completely independent of any location. If you want to rent an apartment in this exclusive cruise ship on steroids, expect to pay $2,000 and $5,000 a night. Owning your own condo on board will set you back $2.5 to $7.5 million. Residents and guests enjoy swimming pools, tennis courts, a library, a health spa, a fitness center, and even golf greens. There's a view of the cruise of the world. It's called the World. It's a cruise ship. Floats about all over the world. These are better views of the world. Cruise ship. Airbus A380 Singapore to Sydney. Today will go into history as the date of the first commercial air flight of Airbus A380. The flight was done from Singapore to Sydney with Singapore Airlines and was fully booked in advance. The tickets for this flight were sold in advance in auction, ranging from thousands of dollars for economy class to thousands of dollars for business class. So it's from thousands of dollars for economy class to dozens of thousands of dollars for business class. Even though you cannot really call it a seat in upper business class, there are three classes, which is a separate room and a bed. Airbus A380 is the biggest passenger aircraft in the world and is nicknamed Super Jumbo for size and seating capacity of up to 853 people. This Airbus model took years and billions of dollars to design. Each unit costs about $320 million to manufacture. There are currently only 10 units of Airbus A380, with Singapore Airlines being the primary user. And there she is. You see the people on the top there. Get a good view. And this is our design. This is the design we built. It's got five circular pads. Each pad has under it a pillar, some 75 meters long, and in the middle you've got five more pillars there. And at the bottom here we've got the airport. The airport is bigger than Gatwick. At least the runway is bigger than Gatwick. The concrete pillars are made in concrete. So the pillars are made in concrete, about 800 meters external diameter, 4 meters thick, and at the top, the floating part itself is to be made from a composite, suitable composite, which won't rust. There's a typical pad, which would house 20,000 people. It has schools, shops, 3-story buildings, and there's the airport, where the runway is bigger than Gatwick's runway. This is the design view from the top. You can see it there. The 5 pads. It could contain 150,000 people, 20,000 on each pad, and the remaining 50,000 elsewhere. This is a view from underneath. Underneath you can see the 5 pillars are hollow at the bottom. The object of the exercise is that they're built like the Troll gas drilling rig. It's the compartments in the bottoms which are vacated, and so that it sticks to the seabed and won't be moved even by hurricanes. This is a design. It's not meant to be in the Solent, but we thought, because we live near the Solent, we thought we'd see whether it's feasible in the Solent, and of course it is, because the gap between 2 pillars is about half a mile, and it's theoretically possible. It's 75 meters above the seafloor, and so it's possible that shipping could navigate there, but it's not advisable to put it in the Solent. We put it there because we just wanted to carry out a case study to see if it were possible. This is a dancer's structural analysis of a tubular pillar, which is out. And there you can see the pillars buckling. The pressure was quite high. It was 3 megapascals, so which is 30 bar, which is 300 meters. So it's very strong. It is proposed that energy is obtained from non-fossil fuels, as the vessel is an island and is floating in the sea. This will not be a problem. Non-fossil fuel sources can be obtained from the following: tidal energy. In this case, a 1,000-ton double turbine can supply 1,000 dwellings. That's tidal energy. Wave energy. In this case, a snake-like artifact has been invented, nicknamed an anaconda. It appears that a single anaconda can supply 1,000 dwellings, so that 50 anacondas can supply 50,000 homes. Anacondas work best in deep waters where they do not obstruct passing ships. Wind energy. In this case, a wind turbine can produce from 2 to 500 kilowatts, depending on the strength of the wind. Solar energy. In this case, it appears that a solar panel can generate 1 watt per square foot or 10.8 watts per square meters. This method of producing energy may be preferable in countries where there is a lot of sunlight. Biomass energy. In this case, the energy can be obtained from recently dead matter, including human waste. Human waste from Paris is used to generate electricity in a small town outside Paris with the aid of a purpose-built power station. So we won't be contaminating the seas with human waste. Biofuel energy. In this case, the energy can be obtained from recently dead vegetation, grain, etc. The authors do not recommend this way of producing energy because the wheat required to keep a person alive for a year is roughly the same amount of wheat required to produce a tank full of ethanol fuel for just one 4x4 vehicle. For the floating city, it may be preferable to adopt wave and tidal energy, as these are natural phenomena occurring around the vessel. Wind energy may also be suitable, but it may not be an attractive proposition in the city skyline. Biomass energy can be used from human waste in the island rather than pumping the human waste into the sea. Thus, from the above comments, it can be seen that it is possible for the vessel to have surplus energy, which can be sold to the national grid. With so much electrical energy available, it suggests that all vehicles are electrically powered, whereas at present electric-powered vehicles cannot compete with vehicles powered by petrol, called gas in the USA, and diesel fuel. The present authors believe that within a few decades, the electrically powered vehicles will come into their own right. So they will come to their own right. They're already building them. Nissan's building one, and I think General Motors is building one. Now, this is the agreement that the Chinese and the Japanese have made to build a floating island city. This was published in The Independent. It is 30 miles long, will cost 6.6 billion to build, can handle earthquakes of magnitude 8, which is an impact of a 3,000-ton vessel. Conclusion. The paper has shown that one of the solutions to the rapid growth of the world's population, together with the ever-decreasing availability of dry land on planet Earth, would be to build floating islands, some to house people and some to grow food, through the method of agriculture known as hydroponics. The paper has also shown that the city can be made to be independent of fossil fuels, so that it is environmentally friendly, largely because it is surrounded by the seas. So hydroponics will be used. I think it's about 20 times more efficient than conventional agriculture. In the Pacific Ocean, there are many islands which are only a few feet above sea level. If global warming continues and the sea levels rise by 22 feet, 6.7 meters, that is, then billions of people in the Pacific Indian Ocean will be displaced together with their means of food supply. Grazing land will be a premium because more people will need more livestock, but the area of dry land will rapidly decrease. In the West, large cities such as London, New York, Tokyo, etc. will lose much of their areas. Moreover, in these cities, transport will come to a grinding halt, especially in the metros. Naval bases will become inoperable because their dry docks will go underwater. They will have to be rehoused on floating islands. The author believes that by 2050, humankind will be building floating islands to provide housing, etc., and also for growing food and other purposes. This can be done because some 71% of the Earth's surface is covered in water. If the scientists and technologists are given the tools, they can